Kellyanne Conway is going to come on Face the Nation, and she is going to try to mitigate the damage done by Donald Trump finally coming to Jesus on this birther issue. And she is going to try to spin this left and right. Now, their assertion is that it was the Clinton campaign that started this, which is not true. It was a Republican out of Illinois who Barack Obama beat for his Senate seat that actually started this. Now, there can be a lot of conjecture over whether the Clinton campaign picked it up and ran with it. Well, obviously they didn't run with it. Now, did they pick it up? Yeah, there's a distinct possibility. For sure, we know that a supporter out of the Texas delegation picked up part of this. We know that there was a person that was definitely within her campaign that tweeted somewhat about it, but if you do the research, you'll see that emailed, that he also emailed that they don't need to go anywhere near this, okay? And now there's Sid Blumenthal, all of a sudden his name is coming out of the woodwork, where he asked somebody to look into Barack Obama's background, but nowhere was this pushed like it was pushed by the Republicans, and in particular Donald Trump. So let's get all of the baggage out of the way and call this for what it was. Did the Clinton campaign touch this thing? Yeah, they touched it. Did they embrace it and push it? No, they did not. So any other narrative as far as Donald Trump is concerned is a bunch of bullshit. This guy was the birther in chief. He ran with this thing for 5 years. 5 years. So for you to try to equate somebody making it damn near their life's work for 5 years versus somebody making a comment about it, nah, it's basically you're mixing metaphors here. You're comparing apples to peas, basically, as far as the size and the content of the attack that was done. Here comes Kellyanne Conway trying to spin Donald Trump out of this bullshit and lay blame on the Clinton campaign, which is total bullshit.
Republican side, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, joins us now from Trump Tower in New York. Good morning, Kellyanne. I want to start with a piece that Defense Secretary Robert Gates, former Defense Secretary, wrote in the Wall Street Journal. He was critical of both candidates, but particularly critical of Mr. Trump. And I want to play Mr. Trump's reaction to it last night and get your reaction.
We had a clown today, an absolute clown, Robert Gates. He's supposed to be an expert. He's been there forever. So he goes out and he says negative things about me. I never met him. I never talked to him. Believe me, I am so much better at what he's doing than he is.
See, and that's Trump's problem. Everybody that basically attacks Trump is supposedly a clown. There's something derogatory. They can't be a person of goodwill that just has a difference of opinion with him. No, they have to be a clown or an idiot, etc. This is not the guy. My personal opinion, Trump is just not the guy that you want to lead this country.
So Robert Gates served 8 presidents, most of them Republicans, 1 Democrat. A clown?
So Mr. Gates, Secretary Gates really should have, I think in his book, been a little bit more forceful about the fact that radical Islam has ideological moorings. He acts like terrorism is something like the weather, it just happens. And we as Americans know that's not true. I think that's part of why Mr. Trump is doing very well on the issue of who would manage radical Islamic terrorism. And he's actually willing to call the enemy what it is, John. Hillary Clinton, in her convention speech, referred to the radical Islamic terrorists as our, quote, determined enemies. So there's a great deal of frustration by many Americans that we just don't have serious leaders all of the time addressing terrorism for what it is.
But one of the critiques that Secretary Gates, who's seen and worked with a few presidents, made was that Donald Trump is thin-skinned. he doesn't have the temperament for the office. Wasn't he, in his response to Mr. Gates, proving Mr. Gates' point?
Notice she didn't answer the clown reference.
No, not at all. He was defending himself, and Mr. Trump has the right to do that. He's attacked by people who have never met him, who haven't given a thoughtful look to his plans, which of course are out there for everyone to see. He's on the stump every single day delivering policy speeches, addressing crowds, rallies. I mean, Bernie Sanders had an event yesterday in Ohio for Hillary Clinton. There were 150 people there. That's like a second wedding where I come from. This is not a big movement for Hillary Clinton. And he has it. Mr. Trump has a right to defend himself from people who I don't think are looking at the substance of his plans. They're just judging someone they've never met.
I'd like to move on to a position that Mr. Trump held for 5 years, that Barack Obama was not born in the United States. He changed that position on Friday. Why?
No, on Friday he made very clear three things. Number one, that it was Mark Penn, Hillary Clinton's chief strategist and pollster, who put President Obama's citizenship in question when he wrote a famous memo in March of 2007 questioning his, quote, American roots, saying at a time of war, how could we elect someone like this?
All right, number one, she's not answering the question. She's turning it around to attack the Clinton campaign. And number two, Mark Penn, if you saw the entire transcript of the documentation, he himself said not to go anywhere near Barack Obama as far as his roots or nationality or anything like that is concerned. But of course, you're not going to mention that.
It's pretty radical stuff. And then, of course, even Patty Solis Doyle, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager in 2008, John, until she was fired by Hillary Clinton, admitted on Friday to Wolf Blitzer that she said, yeah, those were her words, there was a volunteer in Iowa who was pushing this. And so...
See, and that's even wrong because it was a volunteer out of Texas, not Iowa.
This started with Hillary Clinton's campaign, number one. Number two, it was Donald Trump.
Okay, now, again, it did not start with the Clinton campaign. It started with a Republican person that was running for Senate that Barack Obama beat that brought this up. So that's absolutely where it started.
Put the issue to rest when he got President Obama to release his birth certificate years later. And number three, he said that President Obama was born in this country, period, and let's move on to creating jobs, defeating radical Islam, rebuilding our inner cities. And that's what he said.
The reason I want to stick on this a little...
See, and my question is, who appointed Donald Trump the final arbitrator of whether someone is a U.S. citizen or not?
But as he promoted this for 5 years, so this isn't just some passing notion. This was a considerable amount of energy and time and money that he spent promoting this idea. The Clinton, Mark Penn didn't say anything about his citizenship. Also, if you look at the Clinton campaign, they fired the one staffer who sent an email about this immediately. Donald Trump spent 5 years, his own money, called press conferences to promote this idea. So I go back to my original question, why did he change his mind and when did he do it?
Well, Donald Trump was not running for president in a bruising, vicious primary in 2008 against Barack Obama. Hillary Clinton was. And you know that the former D.C. bureau chief of McClatchy newspaper, a respected journalist, just on Friday, John, said that he was approached. He had a meeting with Sid Blumenthal, who's a very close confidant of both Clintons and then was on the payroll of the Clinton Foundation thereafter. He had a meeting with him where Sid Blumenthal allegedly told him that President Obama was not born in this country and to go check it out. So,
notice, again, she didn't answer the question. Why did Donald Trump change his mind and when did he do it? Now they're trying to move on to the blame game again. And Sid Blumenthal, yes, was a quote-unquote confidant of Hillary Clinton. Yes, he probably did ask this guy to investigate. But again, where was Hillary Clinton in pushing this? She never pushed it. The words never came out of her mouth. So again, you're trying to create a false narrative.
I mean, the idea that the people around Hillary Clinton were not responsible for this. Donald Trump in 2007 and 8, while the Clinton folks were pushing this theory, he was
See, and that's a lie. No one in the Clinton campaign pushed this theory. And every single one of you guys, when you get out there, that's one of the first things that you guys say is that the Clinton campaign pushed this theory. That is a straight out lie.
successful businessman. He was building things.
But Kellyanne, he's asked us to go back and look at things that he said about foreign policy back in 2003 to draw conclusions about his judgment. So things he said in the private sector, something he spent 5 years promoting. You said he got the birth certificate released and that put an end to it, but it didn't put an end to it for him. For years after the birth certificate was released, he continued to question it, continued to question whether Barack Obama was born in the United States and whether the birth certificate was a fraud. So when the campaign puts out a statement and said he ended it in 2011 and you've asserted that today, that's just not the truth, is it?
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that it was President Obama released his birth certificate in 2011. Nobody confuses Hillary Clinton with Mariana Rivera. She's not a good closer. And she was...
Okay, and then here she goes again, flipping away from the question and back onto a Hillary Clinton attack.
On this issue at all. The associates of Hillary Clinton started pushing the issue because Barack Obama came out of nowhere to them. They never...
Okay, now you notice what she just did. Now she just said associates of the Hillary Clinton campaign pushed the issue. She just moved away from the Hillary campaign pushing the issue. Okay, you have to watch these people and what they say and not let them get away with crap.
Expected him to rise in the polls, let alone beat her in her Democratic primary, where a vast majority of the voters, by the way, were female and rejected her in that year, just like they didn't see Bernie Sanders coming, and just like they didn't see our comeback in the Trump campaign coming.
Let me ask you,
She's not known to be a closer. She's not known to be good at recapturing momentum, and that proved it.
So I understand you want to talk about Hillary Clinton, and this is an election about a choice. That's important. But it's also about whether people can trust the candidate who may become president one day and who may send people to die in a war. And so just on this question of trust, Donald Trump advocated something for 5 years that was a lie. Why did he do that?
Well, you're going to have to ask him, but
Whoa! Now she's the campaign manager and the chief spokesman. She's supposed to know his position on damn near everything. And with all of this that's been going on for the last, at least 2 weeks, but let's break it down to 4 days, 3 to 4 days. If she's going to try to say that she hasn't spoken to Trump and asked him and had detailed conversations with him regarding this subject, she is full of shit. She's spinning and she doesn't want to answer the question, and Trump doesn't want to answer the question. So now she's going to refer this particular question back to him. You're going to have to ask him. Well, the reporters wanted to ask him that question on Friday, and he ran like the little girly man that he is so that he wouldn't have to answer questions regarding this. So your response there is bullshit.
I think that this is a sideshow now that the media seem obsessed with, John, respectfully. And again, he put everything out on the table on Friday. Those are his words. He does things on his terms.
He did not put everything out there on the table Friday. If he had, he would have explained why he started doing this, okay? Why after Obama supplied his birth certificate, he continued to do this. Why he lied and said he sent private investigators to Hawaii and they found things that are amazing that he was going to reveal shortly that we still haven't heard anything about. That's what you call putting everything on the table. He lied. He took a lie and pushed it, and he knew that it was a lie. But he pushed it in order to promote his own political career. Remember, Trump was considering running not just this year, but he was considering running as far back as 10 years ago. So he needed something to get him out there in front of the American people. He needed something big. And what's bigger than going up against the President of the United States and claiming that he's not a real citizen, which played right into the hands of the white supremacists who love this guy. They love this guy. He is their hero.
On his timeline, and he very crisply got to the microphone after honoring 14 gold medal recipients, and also after showing all these veterans that support us, our campaign. We're very proud to stand with them in Washington, D.C. And he said the three things that you and I just repeated. But again, you know what this...
Donald Trump got out there to promote his hotel. The first 10 minutes of that news conference was promoting the hotel. The next 20 minutes was pushing the veterans and the Medal of Honor recipients and one Gold Star wife. And then that was 30 minutes altogether. And he spent not even 30 seconds. I take that back. He spent 7 seconds talking about, stating that Barack Obama was born in the United States, and another 27 seconds trying to throw it off on Hillary Clinton. So altogether on that subject, he spent 34 seconds of what was supposed to be a news conference that he hijacked.
Campaign also did this week that nobody seems to want to talk about. We tightened in the polls. We have a child care plan, economic plan. I mean, he was standing yesterday with parents of victims of illegal alien crimes who have murdered their children. You know, there are so many things going on in our campaign, and that's his entire point. He's moved on to the things that matter to America.
I understand, but he did spend 5 years on it, so it would be something. We would be remiss if we didn't pay some attention to something that he spent so many years advocating and promoting. Kellyanne Conway, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll be back in what?
John Wilkerson is weak. He should have nailed her ass, and he let her get away, clean away. All right, and here's Kellyanne Conway doubling down on Meet the Press, where again, she ducks and dodges all of the questions regarding Trump, and consistently bounces over to her Hillary Clinton attacks.
Joining me now is the campaign manager for Donald Trump, Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right, let me start with Friday's news first. How and when did Donald Trump conclude that the president was born in the United States?
You'll have to ask him that. That's a personal decision, but we heard...
All right, and there we go again. She's the campaign manager, and obviously that was a question that everybody is going to ask Donald Trump and his surrogates, and she obviously is unprepared or unwilling to answer that question. And that's going to refer to a question that Chuck poses to her later on that she is specifically going to lie about.
Very clearly the three things he said on his own timeline in his own terms on Friday. Number one, that associates of the Clinton campaign started this birtherism question in 2007. Mark Penn in a famous memo questioning Senator Obama's American roots.
They always refer back to that Penn memo, but if you take a look at that actual memo, which is available, it clearly states that they want to stay away from this particular issue of Obama's not even nationality, but his American roots.
Iowa volunteer coordinator, and then of course, as the McClatchy D.C. bureau chief at the time, now former Chuck, has confirmed that Sid Blumenthal, big Clinton confidant on the payroll for the Clinton Foundation, went and told him that Senator Obama was born in Kenya, and in fact they sent somebody to Africa to check it out. So
that's not true. What it was, the news organization that he was with had a branch over in Africa, so they didn't actually send anybody over there. They may have utilized personnel that were already there, which would have in turn confirmed that Obama was not born in Kenya.
This, Donald Trump was not running for president against Barack Obama in a very bruising, vicious primary in 2008. That was Hillary Clinton. Number two, Donald Trump said he put this to rest. Hillary Clinton couldn't close it, get the information he did. And number three, you heard him.
Okay, on number two, no, he didn't put it to rest because we're still talking about it and we're still questioning you about it. So it's not put to rest.
Say that President Obama was born in this country, period, and he's moving on to all the things he talked about this week. Tax reform, child care tax credits. We got the endorsement of the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, huge endorsement. They did not endorse anybody 4 years ago. They endorsed the more popular, more likable Clinton in 1996. And so we're very happy with developments like that.
I guess what I'm curious about, though, is who cares about the Clinton incident? Donald Trump, for 5 years, perpetuated this. This has been arguably part of his political identity for the last 5 years. So what difference does it make whether Clinton does it? Why do two wrongs make a right in this case? That's what I'm at. Like, forget the Clinton incident for a minute. Why did he perpetuate it for 5 years after some associates from Hillary Clinton, in your words?
Well, respectfully, Chuck, I disagree, and I disagree with the use of Hillary Clinton's famous words, what difference does it make? It makes a huge difference as to who started this. Hillary Clinton never saw Barack Obama coming in 2008. That was her campaign. She was going to win. He beat her in the primary fairly and squarely. Then they never saw Bernie Sanders coming, and they certainly haven't seen our comeback of the last month coming. So she's just, she's not nimble. She's not resilient. It's expected. She deserves it. She's next in line. It's her turn, darn it. And so I do think it matters where it started. And frankly, on this, as he's been running for president of the United States this year, Donald Trump has talked about every policy issue that there is. We have a few more to go, but if people want to hear what he thinks about policies that affect him, the economy, radical Islamic terrorism, but let's be fair, Senator Kaine just told you before this segment, hey, if you want to see what we think about policy, we just wrote a book. Go to our website. Really? We're out there every single day.
But Kellyanne,
all right, notice that she didn't answer the question. And in my opinion, okay, let's just say that they're right and that the Clinton people started it, which they didn't, or said something about it, which they may have. He has been pushing this for 5 years. The Clintons have not been pushing this for 5 years. He is known as the birther-in-chief. So you need to answer the question, but of course she isn't.
Hang on a minute. To the voters.
You guys, in a press release on Friday, called birtherism a smear. You used the word smear. So for 5 years, and you were doing it to try to attack Hillary Clinton, does that mean for 5 years Donald Trump was perpetuating a smear? So if he was, why didn't Donald Trump apologize to the president? Why didn't Donald Trump apologize to the family of somebody who died in a plane crash where he tweeted out innuendo that this person somehow was involved in some cover-up with the birth certificate? If your campaign believes it's a smear, shouldn't Donald Trump apologize to the president?
Of course he should, but you're going to deflect on it because you were trying to smear him. You were trying to embarrass him. You were trying to invalidate him. But since you're working for Trump, obviously you can't admit to any of that. 5 years of smears.
We were reminding people where this started. It was used as...
No, you were smearing. You were not reminding people of where it started. You were smearing. You never brought up, over the 5 years, up until now, your hypothesis that it was the Clintons that started this. You guys took this on yourselves, and the history reflects that.
A smear against Senator Obama by Clinton campaign associates, and by the way, not a bunch of summer interns who just got it all wrong and were a little bit too ambitious. These were chief strategists, pollsters, long-term confidants who were pushing this. In 2007 and 2008, Chuck?
See, that's a lie. They weren't pushing this.
Obama for president. He wasn't smearing him about this. He was building buildings. He was being his successful self a job creator. He was revitalizing communities. He was doing economic development everywhere that he had a new project. So let's be fair as to where I think it does matter. I respectfully disagree. It does matter where it started.
In 2012, when he was thinking about running for president, he tweeted things like this: an extremely credible source has called my office and told me that Barack Obama's birth certificate is a fraud. Also in 2012, when I was 18, people called me Donald Trump. When he was 18, Barack Obama was Barry Soweto. Weird. Those are just a number of examples when he was running for president, where he was bringing up this issue. So how can you just totally dismiss this as part of his political identity?
Chuck, I think the only people left obsessed about this are those still covering it.
No, those aren't the only people that are obsessed with this. You got 45 million plus or minus African Americans that are pissed off about this. and you basically just want to ignore us.
Trump made very clear, I mean, we hardly get any kind of clarity from the Clinton campaign on very much. And he took to the podium and took maybe a minute or less to state three very crisp things. And now he's moved on to the issues people care about. I mean, it's just, I have to say, it's remarkable to me to be out there with people and hear what they want covered. I'm looking at NBC's poll this morning, Chuck, and I don't see this issue anywhere in the top 40. So, I mean, top 20
Well, look,
is what I see.
I get what you're deflecting, and if I were in your shoes, I understand why you're deflecting. You are deflecting. This was 5 years, but hang on, this was 5 years of his political identity. And by the way, let me ask this. Now that he believes the president was born in the United States, I think he has made a $5 million charity offer or a $50 million charity offer. Is he going to pay up on that front?
Yeah, it was a $5 million charity offer on anybody that had any type of a backup of supporting Trump's position that Barack Obama was not born in the United States. So actually, since there isn't any, there really isn't any need for him to pay up.
You'd have to tell me the details of that before I can answer that question. However, I do have to say, I want to get back to the poll. I know nobody wants to talk about the polls because they're tightening and we're up in many of these swing
Actually, we're
states
talking
that
about it throughout the show, but I want to talk
let's
about
be
Friday.
fair. The other thing, okay, well, you can talk about Friday all you want. I really appreciate, I can't believe so many in the media were upset that they had to give 25 minutes of coverage to these incredible veterans and military heroes who took the stage to them. Don't they deserve 25 minutes of coverage? I mean,
Yeah, they do, but they deserve the coverage when you're telling people exactly what they're going to be covering. All of the reporting that went to Trump's brand new hotel went there expecting to cover just the Trump reversal on his birtherism position. Instead, Trump used the first 8 minutes to push his hotel. He used the next 20 minutes in order to I guess, promote all of the veterans and Medal of Honor recipients and a single gold star family. That wasn't what the news media was told was going to happen, okay? They were told it was going to be a press conference, and it was anything but a press conference.
Stomping their feet again because people get themselves up in this tizzy and they project onto our campaign what they think is about to happen, and they keep on being dissuaded of that.
I want to talk about the Friday event. Why is he so comfortable using the presidential campaign, teasing out this announcement where he called, I want to keep the suspense going. He talked about that, keep the suspense going. Why did he feel so comfortable using this event on Friday to promote the opening of his new hotel? Is that how he's going to conduct himself in the White House?
Our campaign event wasn't the opening of the hotel. Our campaign event were military generals and heroes, frankly, real heroes.
First words out of his mouth were
showing their support.
Nice hotel. I mean, it's pretty clear he was there to promote the hotel as well.
Because unlike Hillary Clinton, he doesn't read everything from a binder that somebody has prepared for him. He's a funny guy. He went on Jimmy Fallon this week and showed America his lighter side, Chuck. He just got up and said, nice hotel. He has gone to other people's hotels and said, nice hotel. Nice.
So you admit that he was there to promote his hotel? Because you said because. He asked you a question, why was he there to promote his hotel? And you said because. So he was there to promote his hotel.
Baby in the front. I mean, seriously. So look, I'm sorry that the media thinks that it was going there for something. They didn't need to go there. They don't need to cover it all, but they want to cover him. And by the way, if you look at people's Twitter feeds after that event, I think these were not profiles encouraged. People are supposed to be covering our candidate, not slandering him consistently on social media. And I would say there's a lot of cleaning up to go there.
Let me ask you, though, another way of asking this issue on whether he truly believes this or whether this was just him looking at the election 15 days away and you telling him, hey, you've got to stop.
I think you're talking about 15 days away is going to be the debates.
Your image, because he's been on now both sides of the following issues: birtherism, taxes for the wealthy, the Muslim ban, minimum wage, Iraq invasion, the Libya intervention, abortion, self-funding his campaign, accepting Syrian refugees, the issue of Japan and nuclear weapons. He's totally changed his position on all of these issues within the last year. Why shouldn't voters look at this, and including the birtherism comment yesterday on Friday, and say, he's just another politician who will say and do anything to get elected in the moment?
So first, let me address something you said earlier in the question, Chuck. Let me put to rest everybody's presumption that I have ever a single time told Donald Trump, quote, soften your image.
Kelly, you're going to lie, because when he appointed you his campaign manager, there clearly was a difference in how he was operating. Clearly he went to teleprompters. Clearly you guys told him that he had to stay on script with those teleprompters and not to ad-lib, which he stopped the ad-libbing for the most part and has stayed with those teleprompters and on notes. So clearly you had a, let's be honest about it, positive effect on how he was perceived by the public.
I walk in the Trump Tower every day and I'm quickly reminded this man did very well for himself before I got here. He is his own person. His instincts are excellent. He is a people person. He knows he's successful in TV. He's been successful in business. Secondly, to answer your question, this is a man who's running for office the first time, and he's the nominee for president. Why? Because people do not see him as a politician. You want to take statements he made, positions he took as a private citizen when he was not running.
Okay, hold up. Why has he gotten a nomination? Because he beat the crap out of the other 17 people that he ran against, and he used his background as both a marketer and as a TV personality, where he had a distinct advantage on the people that he ran against. Okay, he knew how to connect with the audience. He knew how to insult people when the people that he was insulting weren't used to dealing with a politician that did those kinds of things, and they basically were off-footed. They weren't ready with responses. The one guy that I think could have necessarily gone after him was Chris Christie, and Chris Christie chose to train his fire on the other candidates.
And conflate them with people see who he is now. And Hillary Clinton has changed her mind. You just told her running mate, this woman, you're very legitimately said to Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton has these twin pillar problems of transparency and trustworthiness. And she's done nothing to put to rest either one with all these days to go. I would argue that somebody who's not particularly liked and not particularly trusted by the public, as Hillary Clinton is not, really has nowhere to go. I mean, don't they feel trapped that the polls are tightening now, that we're out there giving our message directly to the voters, and they're running $22 million of ads, according to Democratic Congressman Alcee Hastings, quoting the New York Times in the last couple of days, Chuck, saying $22 million of ad was a waste. And so she's nowhere near where President Obama was among some of these coalitions.
Before Election Day, are we going to get a definitive explanation from Donald Trump on how, if he's elected president, that he will wall off his corporation, wall off his kids, so that foreign policy decisions don't somehow get intertwined with his international business dealings? Doesn't he owe the voters a detailed explanation of how he's going to do this? I want to give you an
All right, that was a technical glitch on their side. Let's. So I'm going to continue it now.
Opportunity to answer that last question that I have, and then we'll end the interview. And that question is Donald Trump going to present the American public an explanation of how he's going to wall off his business so that there are not even illusions or any sort of cloud that would hang over foreign policy decisions and his international business dealings?
So Chuck, thanks for the opportunity to answer the question. So his son, one of his sons, Don Jr., addressed this in part on a different network on Friday. And of course, we will consult with experts on what must be done and comply with the laws and what is needed. Let me just say, I hope the same question is asked of Secretary Clinton now. I mean, they've said they'll shut down the Clinton Foundation, or they'll get away from it, the family get away from it if she's elected. Why not now, when we know that they were using the State Department, which you and I pay for as taxpayers, as a concierge for foreign governments who came in with wads of cash asking for favors? They were given seats at state dinners. They were given favors. You'll see in emails that folks were dropping the friend of Bill.
So Donald Trump's not going to do any. He is going to make a pledge that he will never do any business even remotely related to the Trump organization while in the White House?
I don't make pledges on behalf of him, but as I said, he complies with the law, and we will ask experts at this campaign what needs to be done, and we will follow the law accordingly. When he's president, he's going to be president for all Americans, and it's going to be a full-time job for him.
All right.
All right, just for those of you who don't know it, there is no requirement, no law that forces Donald Trump to divest himself of any of his businesses, to create a firewall, to put any of his businesses into a blind trust. The law is applied to members of his cabinet, members of Congress, etc. But specifically, there is no law that states that the president must divest himself of any and all businesses, both domestic or foreign. And folks, that was the end of this particular interview. Kellyanne Conway has doubled down again, just like she did on Face the Nation this morning.